Coming on there, Aaron?
Yep, it's loading. I also named it the wrong date, so hopefully people will forgive me that I put.
Coming on there, Aaron?
Yep, I put May 25th as the date on YouTube. I apologize for the typo. So forgive me for that. But okay, welcome everyone. We are live now. Today marks episode 4 of the AI Circle by Iflip. Today is the last day of August 31st. We have Randy will actually not be joining us today. It'll just be Kelly and myself, and we have a ton of stuff to get through. So I'm just going to get right to it. Our agenda today is jam-packed. We will, of course, start off with our market update from none other than Kelly Korshak. However, I also have a product update for you. We're also introducing another show, so you'll get even more content from us. And we also have more updates about the event and our raffle winners. We got a lot to get through today, but we can't get through any of that until we go through everyone's favorite part, which is the disclosures. So please bear with me as I go through this. Iflip Investor Incorporated and Iflip Financial Services are not financial advisors and do not make buy, sell, or hold recommendations on any financial instrument. This presentation is for educational purposes only. Unique experiences and past performance do not guarantee future results. All financial investments involve risk. You should speak with your CPA or financial representative to ensure that the Iflip portfolios that you select are suitable for your investment profile before trading in a live brokerage account. With that out of the way, I will stop my screen share, Kelly, and you can take over, and we'll go to the market updates with Kelly Korshak. Welcome, Kelly.
Hey, everybody. Today we're gonna, as Aaron said, there's a lot to do. I'm going to go through my part first, as I normally always do, so that we can move over to Aaron's new product updates. So I think everybody should be able to see my screen. And if everybody can see my screen, they should see a printout of the S&P, sorry, the triple Qs. The NASDAQ triple Q on their screen. All right, I was writing a market letter, by the way, in the beginning of the week, and I was looking at it today, and I realized, well, I have AI Circle, and as a result of that, I'm going to go over what I would have done in my market letter and do that today, and then change my market letter out to be more of a op-ed that you'll get on Friday instead, because we can go over the markets right here. So, by the way, everybody, thank you for joining. I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm going to be a little bit short tonight, given the amount of content that's going to come out on this particular AI Circle. So, I think everybody is kind of aware of what's going on in the markets. I'm not going to take that for granted, because everybody that comes to the AI Circle generally understands where the markets are, and if they don't, then I'm going to tell you where they are and what direction I think they will be moving in, and opine on various subjects in stocks, and also touch base, of course, on all of our smartfolios to the best of my ability in the short time that we always have. So I think I'm going to start off like this with a good look at the S&P 500. This is just a graph of, as we know, the S&P 500 index. What we see on here, this is a 200-day moving average. It's a great reference point. And on top and below are things that are Bollinger Bands. You can kind of see that they're here. And I always put this up as a reference point because the S&P 500 is the reference. We all understand that. We know, we've all heard of 200-day moving average, and if we haven't, it's generally representative of supply and demand and the overall direction of the market. Generally, when the S&P 500 index is rising, it's because its 200-day moving average is rising, And when it's declining, it's because its 200-day moving average is declining. Now, that's not always true. And the best trades always seem to occur generally at some point above the S&P 500 moving average. But some of the big trades and why we're in business is because of what we can do when the S&P 500 is below a moving average. Even though we don't use this kind of information to initiate trades, it is still an important reference point. And I'm going to show you why. Very point, I think everybody knows, and this is a bit redundant, but we need to go here. This is the end of last year in January of 2022. Very, very interesting that the S&P 500 not only peaked out, but it peaked out at 2 standard deviations above its 200-day moving average. It has basically been in decline ever since, up until, interestingly, by the end of the second quarter, June. Notice we're kind of near the lows. There's the end of the second quarter of June, right about that level, near the low. Then we kicked off an enormous rally in June and July, up until just the last week and a half, when we have fallen out of bed. Notice something very interesting, that the market almost to the end of the quarter perfectly rallied to its lows. And then the beginning of the third quarter, it rallied literally to the 200-day moving average, which, by the way, coincidentally, is an exact, almost to the nickel, 50% retracement from the high to that low. And then touched it, and then, of course, immediately lost 6%. Now we are again closer to our lows than we were to any high. And the market seems to be in a very strong secular new trend to the downside. So this is translated in our AI, which moved out of the market very early in January. These are all AI signals. It had nothing to do with, by the way, what's going on up here in a Bollinger Band or any of this. Then it made a couple of trades in these areas, trying to look for a bottom, and then those couple of trades were rejected. And then right around February, the AI literally shut down completely the ability to buy the S&P 500. It was the end of July, and the AI put out the monster sell signal for us to completely be out and don't look for long trades in the short run. That has proven, of course, to be a good bet, a good trade, as the market moved way down all the way till the end of the second quarter, until it bounced recently and now has fallen off of its bounce. So there was no trades throughout this whole period of time, and there will be no trades. And lo and behold, we are now going into September and October, which are notoriously the worst months for the market. And we all kind of know that in the back of our head. And let me remind you, everybody, that September is generally worse than October. September is the one month that only 50% of the months of September going back to the 1940s were up. Whereas generally 85% of all months are up in aggregate on the S&P 500, literally from the 1940s, if we could calculate the S&P 500 at that time. But knowing this information, it is obviously not a good time of the year seasonally to be in the market. We know there's a lot of things going on, including this particular year, a midterm election, September. We don't have good momentum to the upside here. I think most people should be sanguine that they're not in the market, and whatever exposure you have, if you have it, should be minimal. So the S&P 500, by the view of this chart, doesn't look good. The AI hates it. And remember, the AI is using something that I've mentioned before, which is things like credit card swaps, credit card expansion, or credit card debt. So we use this kind of fundamental information, we feed it into the AI. And one of the things we've noticed is there's this huge expansion in credit card debt. I don't think that's to anybody's surprise, but huge expansion in credit card debt almost always is just an indicator itself, is a bad sign for the overall market. It means people have literally, their income levels have dried up for whatever reason, that they fall back to credit cards and for being able to manage their monthly expenses. That's not a good sign. The AI sees it. So just in general, on the market, I think anybody in the flip portfolios should at least have some knowledge right now that this is not a good time to be in the market. And so let's have the software's working exactly as it should in terms of keeping you in and out of the market there. But let's now drill down a little bit on a few things. Let's look at oil stocks, because those have been the things that have not behaved as the S&P 500. So in the case of oil stocks, this is Exxon Mobil. I think it's pretty clear here that from the beginning of this year, the exact opposite has occurred. Exxon Mobil has done nothing but go from around $65 a share to $95 a share, $30. So essentially it's up 50% since the beginning of the year. That is obviously in contrast to an S&P that is down more along the lines of 17% on the year. These stocks continue to look good. However, I feel that there is going to be an issue of these kind of oil stocks making new highs. So this is something that I think the ride is good. Red oil is performing well. And at the end of the day, though, I feel these stocks are going to be limited on their upside on a go-forward basis, especially if the stock market does move lower going into September, October. And so I'm obviously very nervous about that because of something called demand destruction. That occurs generally when the markets are not behaving well. If that's the case, even though this stock has done so well, it has a higher opportunity that the upside here is maybe limited to 104 to 108. However, the downside looks to be more along the lines of around 80, these recent sets of lows. And the AI, albeit it is long in this stock, it doesn't mean that the information that we feed Exxon Mobil is, for example, based on credit card swaps. It's actually based on different kinds of data as well, like, for example, the price of oil. And here's an example of the price of oil. As you can see, the price of oil has actually declined considerably over the last 3 months. And we've been as high as 120. I think people kind of remember it. And now we're sitting at around $89 a barrel. And so when we see this, and then I see a stock market that is trying to still buy Exxon, it tells me I don't really like that energy. In other words, and pardon the pun, where the thing that they're selling is going down while the price of their stock is going up. It looks like a divergence. So that's something to keep in mind. The cruise lines remained slow and buried because the economy, forget about COVID at this point. This is something where and I recently was on a cruise, by the way, everybody. And aside from my experience not being the best one, I can tell you that they don't remind me of what cruises were like a few years back. I was very high on the cruise market a while back. Right now, I believe it's a buy and hold, but not necessarily a strong buy yet. So that would show up in things like maybe the SPY eye and maybe in marginally in some other portfolios as well. But if we look at the stocks all in all, they're not really looking like the S&P belongs at this price level. Then here's Apple, for example. It's definitely off its highs. It cannot seem to move away from its 200-day moving average. Look at Amazon, very similar. It continues to be below its 200-day moving average. Here is Boeing. Boeing cannot get out of bed. Here is Google. It's close, very close to its lows. This doesn't look like a market that wants to go higher. Let's look at Walmart. Again, this doesn't look like a market that is strong. We are very complacent and we are in ranges and we are in the lower end of the ranges. And this is exactly what I remember in 2007 when things stuck in these lower ranges. Ultimately, when the news came out about the housing market, literally around June of 2007, it was established that within 1 year, the market would be deeply lower, literally 30% lower. So to that end, everybody, whatever TV show you may watch in the morning to get when you drink your first cup of coffee to see where the markets are, if you are people that do that, remember most of the talking heads that come on TV are people that are trying to talk their book. They're trying to get you to be in the market and realize that you just have to participate in order to make money and participate in make money on the long side, because after all, the market always goes up. And as we've pointed out, and I think most of you understand on our platform, that the idea is to cut off the highs and cut off especially the lows of your portfolio so that the market, we want to capture the meat of the market as it moves up, but definitely not be around in the market when it goes down. And by doing this and using this kind of methodology in a religious way, pretty much there is a high probability, take that back, there is a high probability that you are going to outperform the market in a significant way. So at the end of the day, my opining about where stocks are and what I'm seeing in aggregate is one thing. I've been correct. I will admit that the last rally in the S&P, and let me put it up, kind of caught me by surprise that the market could go up 50% from the low, but it's shown its true colors literally again over just, if you look at it, just literally a week, 2 weeks at the most, how much it can go down and how quickly that can happen. It's the AI and the math behind what we do that really is the stability of the market that allows us to create portfolios that behave in a certain way. It's not my opining. I wish it was, but it's not. It just so happens, though, that through the years that I've been doing this and watching how the math works and creates a trade that I may not have taken myself, especially to buy something and oftentimes to sell something, I've noticed that generally it beats me to death. I feel that I just can't keep up with it. And that's why over the years I've surrendered my opinion to be a second best to the math. Going forward, a couple more things I'll touch on before I let you go this time, because I want everybody to take a look at the market letter that I come out, because it's going to talk a lot about the psychology of what I'm dealing with, talking to you now about, especially as it comes to artificial intelligence and alternative data sets that we're now able to tap into and use. But let's tap into a couple other things. Look at gold, everybody. Now, generally in a down market, gold looks like its proxy. I think that can be, I think, honestly said that those days are over. Gold has gone nowhere, up or down. Frankly, my bet for this is a market that's going to go to 1,000. It's not going to go higher. It's more likely to bust. Second thing, I don't want to go deep into it, but silver looks worse. See all those commercials of people telling you to buy silver? It's the next best thing. You first. So I'm good at selling silver, but I wouldn't be a buyer. And we have to touch on interest rates. Here is an example of the 30-year US bond. Well, this was the secular bull market that when I came into the business in 1980, 81, the market was literally where the market at that time had 18% short-term interest rates on the Fed funds and an 11 to 12% coupon on this particular bond, which means the government would pay you 11, 12% if you lent them the money. And then they pay you back the par value of the bond 30 years later, which at that time was around 2010, the 30-year bond. So what I'm really getting at, though, is this is a market where the price of the bonds are going down. That means interest rates are going up. This has obviously a huge impact on everything we do. And the main impact, as you can see, is during that little rally we had in the stock market is because the bond prices went up, which means interest rates went down. And lo and behold, look what happened. As the bond market started to break down again, so did the stock market. This is in a secular bear trend that literally could last 40 years, like the last one that lasted 40 years as a secular bull market. If this is true, this means that in the years to come, interest rates will slowly grind higher as the Fed tries to combat inflation. Finally, I'm going to go back to that yen trade that I mentioned the last time. So this is work in progress. The yen right now has made literally today an all-time low. The dollar has made an all-time high against the yen. That means the yen is at an all-time low against the dollar. This, folks, is a George Soros trade. Another piece of information here is the reason this is the case is because the Japanese economy and its government is keeping their interest rates low by literally buying all their own bonds. The Japanese government, I read an article, literally owns as much as 70% of the bonds that are issued. The government owns them, not the people, which means they have no way, if they continue to buy their own bonds, how do they finance growth? And by the way, their currency is at an all-time low. So their currency has no value overseas. This, at one time, Japan, everybody, was the third biggest economy in the world. However, that has changed. And if this is where I'm going, is this could be the catalyst that sends the West into a deep, deep recession, which means much lower interest rate prices. And if that does occur, then interest rates will they will move lower if Japan implodes. So the reason this is interesting is we want to be able to participate in this Japanese trade. And again, I don't know how to quite put the trade on yet. I am looking for it. Even though the last time I spoke to you, it was a month ago, here we are, even at a better place to be able to execute it. This is something that will take some time to put on and figure out the right way to do it. But right now, I don't have the answer for all of us unless we have futures accounts and foreign exchange accounts. And I'm not ever going to tell people to open up these kind of accounts to execute this kind of a trade. So this is still very much in play, and it represents a danger to the economics of literally the entire world.
Kelly, just to clarify for people who do have Forex and futures accounts, you're looking at shorting the dollar yen, or is that what you're saying? You're looking at shorting the dollar yen?
Yes.
Or buying yen, or going long yen.
Correct. Well, correct. Here's what you have to do. You have Japanese bonds, which is called the JGB, the Japanese government bond. And that bond is an extremely expensive bond on the futures exchange. So for example, to margin one of those bonds takes $100,000,
Right.
literally the margin. So what we really want to do is that interest rate there is zero and negative. What we want to do, of course, is the price is very high. We want to short that bond and buy the Japanese yen because the Japanese yen is at very low. So we know that's the trade to put on. But how do you put that on when you need those kind of accounts and you need serious money to be able to execute it? There is no, to my knowledge, cheap Japanese government bond futures that we could be in. And that means I would still have to guide people that have retirement money on our platform into trades like that. That's not our business. But I do think people should recognize this is an opportunity that larger traders will be involved in, and it affects the rest of the world because it's a huge economy. So the trade is obvious. The way to put it on is not so obvious. And a lot of people, it's easy to lose money on a trade like that, even if in the long run, it could be a great trade. I've always learned that the market, the market could be irrational longer than you will be solvent. So the problem is that this is, but I think it's a very, very important trade that we should keep our eyes on so that people, when the day comes where you hear something in the news about Japan and the market goes, our US and Western markets go down, they won't be surprised because they will have heard it through this AI circle who is feeding the information that I read to the users and viewers of this platform. So by the way, one last thing before I let everybody go, is Bitcoin. Well, it's kind of formed a bottom, but it's nowhere. This is an opportunity, folks, but it's not something you necessarily buy at this point yet. There will be a time to do it, but I feel if the stock market makes another low, this is the time when we can load up on this to be able to buy it, because there is going to be, if there's lower prices in stocks, the one thing Bitcoin is seen to be correlated to, even though irrationally, is the US stock market. So if I don't believe in the US stock market, it's kind of hard to buy Bitcoin. But I do believe this is something we really want. And this could be the real surprise to people inside of a portfolio, that if that does occur, this will add a lot of value. And so I would be reconstructing certain things, even the AI itself, or algorithmic approaches would also start to rearrange the components in many of your smartfolios to add more exposure to these kind of instruments and others if the market does continue to stay the way it is, which is move lower. So on that note, everybody, there's so many other, I'd like to take questions today, but if you do post them today, I will answer, like the top 10 to 20 of them that I get and make sure they go out individually to everybody. If I can get them, and Aaron will receive them. In the meantime, Aaron has, I've kind of gone over by about 5 minutes. Aaron has something to talk about to all of you about product updates that are significant. So with that, everybody, I am going to go have a huge coughing spree, and, because that's the most I've been able to talk in a while.
Yeah.
And so thank you, everybody. And until the next one. And by the way, look for the market letter that I'm going to get out by Friday. All the very best. And let's have a nice September.
Yes. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much, Kelly. I did see all of your questions, one from an anonymous attendee, one from JJ, George, Abe. I got all of your questions. We will absolutely send that over to Kelly. There's only been a handful of them, so Kelly should be able to address those on the newsletter. Kelly, I'm just going to ask you to stop the screen share, and I can take over the screen share. And we got some cool new updates for you. Okay, I'll just take over. I think I can just do this by myself. Let me see. Screen share like that.
I'm trying to do it.
Did I do it? Can you see my screen?
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Okay. So, okay. So let's get into a cool new feature that our dev team has just recently released on the Iflip web app. I'm a big fan of this. If you don't already know, the charting platform that Kelly uses to do all of his analysis and reporting for you during these AI circles is a platform called TradingView. It is widely regarded as probably the best and easiest, most intuitive platform out there for regular people, regular retail traders and investors like us. So we thought, hey, we should integrate that to our platform somehow. And we finally were able to pull it off. So right now, if you come into any stock dashboard, right, I'm just going to open up a stock that I own, CCJ. What you'll notice is that there is this extra icon next to the watch list eyeball icon. And when you click this, oh, it pops up in a different screen. I have to share my screen in a little different way. Sorry. Give me a second here. I have to share my screen in a different way for you to see that. Like this. Okay, so confirm for me that you could see that, everybody. And when you click this button, you get a pop-up that I'm going to drag over, and it is the symbol CCJ in a TradingView window. How cool is that? Okay, this is a much more robust and a much more sophisticated tool than just dealing with our basic, line chart here. Okay, this is the easy, simple version, and you can consider this as the complex, advanced version, which is what a lot of people have wanted to see. Now, there's a couple of caveats about this. First, I'm going to say Iflip is not TradingView tech support. Okay, so don't email us questions about, hey, how do I use TradingView? TradingView has their own support. We are not TradingView tech support, and we don't have anything to really. We're not in business with them or anything like that. They just offer this as an embedded widget for any kind of web app. Okay, so just to make that clear. Right. So exactly, Jacqueline, that question, indicator templates, we don't have any of that at the moment. We might in the future, but right now, all we're doing is we're giving you the vanilla version of TradingView on our platform, and that's it. If you wanted to set up your own indicators, then go right ahead. We don't have anything like that to share yet. Okay. A couple of things about TradingView that you should know, though. This data that you see is 15 minutes delayed. Okay. So when you open this up while the market is open, you're going to see pricing that is different than what you might see when you try to place a manual trade in your order window. Okay, and in our order window, we do show real-time price the best we can. Obviously, sometimes it's a few seconds off, a few ticks off. Can't help that, with the retail trading platform. But the TradingView platform is 15 minutes delayed. So a couple other things but you can add indicators yourself. We don't have any templates, but one of the indicators that I like to use is the RSI. Click relative strength index, and you add it to your chart, and you can have this open side by side as you decide whether you want to place a trade or not. Personally, I like to get rid of volume over here, so it's very customizable. Okay. The other cool thing that you can do here is I'm going to change this to a line chart so it looks a little bit more familiar to what you might be seeing. And you can also add symbols like, let's say you want to compare this for whatever reason to the Qs. Okay, you can add symbols and compare them. That's a neat feature. I know Kelly does that all the time. I do that all the time too for my own trading. And a couple other things that you can do for TradingView is you can just click the time frame up here and choose it, or you can just start typing it. So if I want a 15-minute chart, let's go back to the bars, just type in 15, or a 1-minute chart, just type in 1. And you can also start typing in different symbols if you like. Okay. And let's say you want to look at the spider. Okay. Now, the other cool thing, and this is the last thing that I'll showcase, is that let's say I'm going to open up Shopify. Okay. I hold this position. I click the trading view window and I bring it over. Also notice that it doesn't save the setup. Okay. Just be mindful of that. Okay. But let's say from here, I'm going to move this over to the side, and I want to move into, let's say, this stock here, TSM. Okay. And how can I showcase this? Okay. So if I click this icon again, it automatically updates it in the pop-up window. So you won't get a million pop-up windows even if you tried. Okay, so it's very organized and clean. I know that was an issue in a previous version of TradingView. Some of you may remember that, but it is not like that anymore. Okay. Yes. Sorry, Bruce. The title of the YouTube show is May. That is a typo. That's my fault. I am live, obviously, since I'm replying to your question. That's just, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. This is a live show. It's not a replay. I'll fix that for the replay, though, for sure. Okay. Any other questions about this? Okay. Some people are super excited to see that we have TradingView integration. Perfect. All right. Moving on. I need to reset my screen share here. And okay, let's reset my screen share. And I have a very cool announcement, but I need Lee. All right, here we go. So Lee,
Yes, I'm ready whenever.
Oh, you're here. Okay, I was trying to bring you on. Okay, cool. Is your camera on? I can't see you.
Yeah. I was just staying out of your way while you and Kelly did all your things.
Thanks, man. I don't know how I'm supposed to see your video. I don't know. When I share my screen, the video goes away, and I don't know how to deal with that. Whatever. If everyone else can see you, then that's all that really matters. Your camera's on, right?
Yeah, good to go.
Okay. Oh, there it is. It was hiding in the corner. Jeez. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So we are introducing another show in the Iflip YouTube channel lineup. So going forward, the AI circles are going to be the 4th Wednesday of every month. I know in August, I think this is like the 5th Wednesday or something like that, but it's always going to be the 4th Wednesday of every month, which is near the end of the month. But every 2nd Wednesday of every month, Lee and I are going to do a question and answer type show called Iflip Mailbag. And it is very similar to how we have that Q&A portion at the end of every AI circle, where you guys send in all of your questions and we have to deal with it kind of on the fly, right? And sometimes I have to juggle it, and it's a little bit unorganized sometimes because I'm getting it from all different directions. So we thought, hey, why not just gather them all together and give ourselves a little bit of prep time if we know what the questions are ahead of time, and we can answer them on a live show similar to this one every 2nd Wednesday of the month. So how you can get involved with this is just email any questions you have about the markets to mailbag@iflipinvest.com. If you send us very market relevant questions, super in-depth types of technical questions, we'll save those for Kelly in the AI circle, and we'll reply back to you saying that, hey, well, this is a very in-depth question that you're probably going to want Kelly's input on. But if it's very general questions on iFlip updates or things about trading view, like, like integration into iFlip, something product related that I can answer, I can address that at the mailbag, right? And on the mailbag episodes, anything that is related to personal finance in general, or futures and forex, because I'm a futures and forex trader, right? If you have those types of questions, it doesn't always have to be only about iFlip and the markets, right? We're opening it up to just broad, general personal finance questions as well. I know a lot of people asked him. I know recently I got a question from a friend of mine who just had a baby, and she called me up and she said, hey, I know you always talk about how as long as you have a social security number, a Roth IRA is a really good idea for like a newborn baby. How do I execute something like that? Right. So that would be a great question for something like Mailbag. There will be no Zoom registration for this show. Okay. So it is only going to be available on YouTube. And I've gotten some comments and feedback about how it's a little bit hard to find. And so we're going to improve that. We're going to improve it so that you have a link and you can keep it open and you can wait for the live stream to start. I know there's a way to do that. We haven't been doing that recently, but we'll get that to you for sure. So it's not on the slide here, but the next, the very first episode of Mailbag will be September. Let me check the calendar here. September, what is it? The 2nd September of the month. The second Wednesday of the month, sorry, which is September 14th. So it is the next episode, or the first episode of Mailbag, will be on September 14th at the same time as the AI Circle, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So if you guys have any questions about that, you can feel free to throw them in the chat here. Lee, how are you feeling about this? You excited?
Yeah. The only thing I'd add to what you said, I mean, like you talked about, some questions might be a bit, maybe not even over our head, but we might want Kelly's input on it. I would just say send everything there. Like Aaron said, if it's something that we're not necessarily going to cover without consulting Kelly, we'll be the ones to do that. So don't feel like a question is too easy or too difficult to send in there. We want feedback from everyone. Everyone's probably thinking similar things. We all are trying to, I think, at least what I take from this is it's a good way to learn about things that even I don't know a ton about. Like Aaron knows a ton about other markets that I do not. So it'll be a learning experience for me as well. But I just want to really offer this as another, thing for our community to be able to do. So I don't think twice a month is too much for you guys, but if it is, I guess you don't have to show up to every single one of them.
Yeah, if you're sick and tired of us from just our monthly show, then yeah, you don't have to tune in. You could, by the way, we are going to take each of the questions and post them as individual videos for people who want to just catch the replay version. Maybe you didn't want to sit through the entire show. Maybe you're not available during that time slot and you just want to catch some of the replays for individual questions. That's absolutely going to happen. Just make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel and keep the notification bell on. That's the key thing. That's how you really make it easy for yourself. When we're live, the notification pops up, hit the button, and you can join us from your phone, computer, wherever. Jacqueline has a question about the newsletter. We'll double check that email address, Jacqueline, to make sure that it is the up-to-date email address in our database. But I will say that in August, Kelly was both on vacation and then got sick. So that's why the newsletter was a little bit delayed and is coming out this week instead of last week as he was away. A couple of people are asking about the crypto. A real quick update on the crypto is that we had to you probably all received an email about migrating our clearing broker or introducing broker from TradePro to Zenvest. Part of the reason why is that so long as we're with TradePro, we cannot launch crypto. Okay, the launching of crypto is more. It's more involved than just iFlip being ready. All the back end pieces have to match up as well. All the legal red tape has to be cleared and done. From a technical perspective, iFlip, I can confirm, has been ready since April. It's the back end stuff, the stuff that we want to shield you from, the legal stuff, the compliance stuff, the annoying red tape is all the stuff that's been delaying us. I think most of you remember that on the AI Circle for either April or May, I actually did a demo for the crypto, right? It's ready. We just can't turn it on legally because they won't let us. Okay, so it's kind of out of our hands, and we appreciate everyone's patience with us. We understand the frustration. We want it really bad too because it's really cool. But at the same time, the market, as Kelly just mentioned, has been kind of in the toilet. It's not like you're really missing a big money-making opportunity anyway. So hope that answers that question. Lee, do you have anything you want to add about the crypto stuff?
Say, since you brought it up, it's not really crypto related, but you did bring up a good point about Zenvest. And if you guys went over this before, I might have missed it. So even if so, I guess going over it again might not be the worst thing. But so everyone got an email from Doug requesting basically access, or you agreeing to us being able to move your account from TradePro to Zenvest. I've gotten some questions about it. Also, some people thinking like, hey, is this spam? Is this something I need to do anything with? So nothing is changing for the customer. The introducing broker, not to go into the weeds on that sort of stuff, but basically it's a component so that our software can do what it does for you guys. And so really that's the only thing that's changing. Kelly's still here, Randy's still here, Aaron, myself, all the parties are the same except for them. The software is still going to be able to do the same thing. But for us to be able to release crypto, we're going to make this change and are in the process of it right now. So if you guys haven't already, if you could just search in your email for something from Doug requesting basically access to be able to move things over, that would help us immensely. Not that that's the only reason why we haven't been able to get crypto out, but it'll definitely help speed up the process a little bit.
It's one of the major reasons, and there's another supply issue as well. That's also another thing that has to get taken care of before we're able to release crypto. So there's two major moving pieces that need to get connected, and iFlip isn't one of them. iFlip has kind of just been on standby. Okay. Let's see. Lee, help me out with some of the questions. I think I'm going to move on to the next one.
And while we're talking about the mailbag, I mean, we'll also pull some questions from the AI Circle, especially if it's a really good one that we for some reason don't get the chance to answer that. If we miss your question, it's not on purpose. We're trying to get to everything, but obviously time constraints and that sort of stuff, we can't get to everything. But we'll definitely include some of this stuff in the mailbag. So if we don't get to you tonight, stay tuned in a couple weeks and we'll for sure have an answer then.
For sure. We're going to move on to talking about, our October event, which I hope you're all going to register for and hang out with us and meet us in Dallas for. However, before I do that, Larry Walters just submitted a very useful suggestion for some. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take you up on that, Larry. I'm going to look into that. Adevent.com will definitely look into that and make it easier for you to prepare for our live streams, right? Add it to your calendars, have a link so that it's ready for standby. We'll definitely make it easier for you. The whole point of migrating off of Zoom and onto YouTube was to make it easier. And I understand that there was a little bit of friction in the transition. So I do apologize for that, but I promise it will get easier from now on.
Sorry, Aaron, but as we because we're somewhat transitioning away from Zoom, and this will predominantly be on YouTube. I quite frankly, it might not be believable right now, but it's a lot easier for people to be able to attend every single event when it's on YouTube, especially if you have the notifications on. You're going to get a notification saying, hey, we're live, we're doing something, whether that's the mailbag, whether that's something Aaron and I come on and do, or maybe just Kelly, who knows what it is, but the AI circle included. As long as you have that turned on, you're subscribed to the channel, you're going to see everything. So it'll be pretty hard to miss, attending these things if that's something that you want to do.
Yeah. And eventually we'll branch out onto other platforms as well, but we're taking one step at a time. Right now, we're going to focus on the events coming up in October, and I do have the disclaimer up, because what I'm about to talk to you about, I think, warrants just a repeat that none of this is financial advice. I am not recommending anything or telling you to buy anything or anything like that. This is purely for education. This is my opinion on what I've discovered over the years, and that's it. This is not advice, right? I just need to repeat that for legal purposes. But I think many of you, just hop in the chat and let me know if you are somebody that is interested in trading manually in addition to Iflip, whether it's stocks, forex, futures, options, or any of the other asset classes, right? Raise your hand up or say, yes or me in the chat, and let me know if that's something that you are interested in. Then you should absolutely, yes, we have a couple of yeses. You should absolutely be joining us in Dallas for Mastering the Markets Live. And here's why. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek to the secret to trading success. Most of you probably have at least watched a YouTube video or an ad, or maybe even purchased a couple of programs on trading education before, whether it's options, forex, future, I don't care what it is. They're all going to say something along these lines in order to pitch their product. Okay. They're going to be like, oh, there's 3 main ingredients to trading success. Right. One is you have to have a system with an edge over the market, right? Whether it's this, and this is where most trading programs are going to focus on and be like, oh, I have this really crazy new system, and it's a really high win rate, and it's going to make you a ton of money as long as you understand this system. Some of the better ones, some of the better quality and some of the better quality programs with a little higher integrity are going to add other pieces to the puzzle, though. They're going to say that, hey, it's not just about the system. It's also about your discipline, your consistency, and your psychology. Okay. And they'll also talk about the last piece of the puzzle, which is risk management. You have to keep your losses small and keep your wins big. That's how you make money over time. Okay. Does this look familiar? Give me a yes, or raise your hand or something like that if you've seen something like this over time, or maybe it was on a YouTube video, maybe it was on a program that you purchased. Yeah, exactly, right? So I'm going to be a little bit of a bearer of bad news. This is an incomplete picture. I have not seen a single trading education program that adds what I'm about to tell you, because the real secret to success is looking at this not academically in a 2-dimensional format like this. There's actually a 4th element here. Okay, so imagine this is not a flat triangle, but imagine it's actually a 3D pyramid that's been turned upside down, and the tip, the pointy part, has been hidden from you this entire time. Because if they were to reveal this secret, then it would actually hurt the sales of their program. Okay. And that's the kind of thing that we're going to talk about at Mastering the Markets Live. We're going to definitely give you all the other pieces, like the system, the psychology, the risk management, right? We're going to have bots. We're going to have people who are day traders. We're going to have swing traders. We're going to have all the other stuff. And even the speakers that we have on stage they're not going to talk about this fourth element, the secret to execution. But we are. Iflip will, as the host of the event, will be addressing this nonstop during the entire event. Okay, it's kind of hard to just. I'm not going to get into it right now because you have to show up to the event to do that. I don't have time to get into all that right now, to be honest with you. But I will give you a sneak peek as to what it can look like. I hope all of you are familiar with Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever, right? I hope that whether you're a basketball fan or not, that name should ring a bell. He is regarded as the GOAT, right? The greatest of all time. However, the greatest of all time basketball player, Michael Jordan, was a below average baseball player and is currently the GM / owner of the Charlotte Hornets. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lee. You're better at sports than I am. And he is not a very good general manager either. So he's the best ever at one thing and below average and one of the worst at two other things. Consider that if you've been struggling with trading, you're probably Michael Jordan as a baseball player. And you probably don't know that basketball is what you're going to be the best at of all time. You're probably Michael Jordan trying to be a general manager of a team. Why? Because you clicked on an ad a long time ago and they told you that this was the secret to success and you wanted to execute on their system. And you thought that was the right way and you're trying to make that thing work for yourself. But really it's something that you shouldn't have been looking at anyway, right? Michael Jordan really didn't belong on the baseball diamond. He belonged on the basketball court. Okay, so where are you right now? We want to make you the Michael Jordan basketball player. We don't want to make you Michael Jordan the baseball player. But if you show up to a baseball coach and ask them, hey, can I learn baseball from you? They're not going to turn you down. They're going to take your money and train you on baseball, even if you suck at it. Okay, that's the unfortunate reality of this business. So when you come to Mastering the Markets Live, you will not only get a buffet of trading education systems and whatnot, but you'll also understand which one is the best fit for you. And that's what makes this event very different. And I've been to hundreds of these things. That's the difference that Mastering the Markets is going to make in your life, as opposed to any of the other trading events that you've been to. Okay, so if you have any questions, I will take them about the event. If you want to, before we get into questions, forgot the best part. We have a winner from last week's raffle, and when this winner came up, I was like, of course, it's the name that I don't know how to say. Of all the names, of all the comments that we got from the YouTube video, it's the name that I don't know how to say. So we have the raffle winner, and I wonder if he's in here right now in the participants. Let me check real quick.
Yep, he is.
He is. Hey, okay. So I apologize because I'm probably going to say your name wrong, but the winner of this week's raffle is Zung Doan. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't know. But congratulations. I wish I had a cool sound effect to play for you right now. Congratulations. Yay. Yes, you're here. Yes, exactly. So, so for those of you that might not be aware of the raffle contest, we have a drawing, and we'll have another one because we'll be doing another one on the first mailbag episode, right? So we'll have another one. You'll have another chance to win a free ticket to Mastering the Markets Live, October 20 to 21st in Dallas, Texas. Now, if you've already purchased the ticket, instead of winning another ticket, which may or may not be interesting to you, we'll pick up your hotel fee and you get a dinner with Kelly, which arguably is the better deal. So Zung, I don't. Right. So exactly. So I don't know what the registration list is right now. I don't know if you've already purchased a ticket, but if you already have, then that's what you get. If you haven't, then you just get the ticket. So I think it's the better deal. Not trying to sell you or anything like that, but it's the better deal to purchase the ticket and then redeem this raffle winning for the dinner with Kelly. So yeah, if I were you, I would get the ticket and then you could qualify for the dinner with Kelly. There's already one other person that is qualified for that, and they also opted to do that. They were like, oh, I'm gonna buy the ticket and then get the dinner with Kelly. So you'll be joined by at least one other person. We'll see if the future winners also decide to take us up on that deal. So the way that you would do that is you would come to Mastering the Markets, iflipinvest.com/mastering the markets. Ignore the WordPress toolbar. And you would click sign up now. And this is a bonus that I only talk about on the AI circles. Okay. We do have a promo code. Okay, before I talk about the promo code, I need to reiterate that the ticket price currently is $4.97, but it's only staying at $4.97 for a couple more weeks. Okay, this is the early bird special. It's at $4.97, and on September 23rd, it's going up to $6.97. So if you were just kind of on the fence thinking about it, you were going to wait. Well, now is the time to register. You only have 21 days before the price increases by $200. The other update on this that I wanted to let you know is that we will be recording it. And so if you purchase early, the part of the early bird special is that you will get a copy of the recording of the event so that you can replay it, because there's going to be a lot of content. You're going to want to replay it. Okay. So what I would do, Zung, is click sign up now. And for everybody here, again, I only talk about this really on the AI circles. I don't really publicize it. It's just a reward for all of you fans that join us. There is a $100 off promo code, if I can remember it. Lee, help me out. What was it again?
Yeah, you're on the right track. Yep.
Event 100.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So if you type in event 100, it becomes $3.97. Okay. And as the raffle winner, you can, this is a no-brainer a cost for a dinner with a dinner consultation with someone like Kelly Korshak, right? So it's to me, I would just buy this ticket and then be like, oh yeah, give me the hotel and the dinner with Kelly. That's such a better deal, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe you just want the free ticket though. That's up to you. So I hope that addresses your questions, Zung. You have the link in the chat. Just go ahead, and everybody here can do this right now. Go ahead and get $100 off. Make sure you do it before September 22nd, before the prices increase to $6.97. Okay, now I'll take any questions at this point. Lee, did you want to add anything? Did I miss anything here?
No, but if for some reason you have questions on this, feel free to reach out to either sales at iFlip Invest or Aaron or myself, and we'd be happy to help you guys. As Aaron showed you the promo code, there's not very many of them, so it does cut you off after a certain amount. So if you try the code and it doesn't work, you might have been too slow. So not to press you with urgency, but I would say hop on it right now before you forget about it. And then October comes around and you're not with us in Dallas. We'd love to see everyone here. So
yeah, there's a limited number. I don't even know what the number is. I didn't even know what the code was, but there is a limited number of that event 100 coupon. So I don't know how many that is, but I would get on it as quickly as possible because you don't want to miss out on that. This is probably the best price you're probably going to get before September 22nd for sure. Okay, the raffle winner, if the ticket has
We can
Yes.
take this offline as well. I'm not sure if there's other questions that people have. And I know we're over the hour time that we typically take as well. So
Yes, but Zung, you have the right idea. That is how it works. We do have your questions that we'll address on Kelly's newsletter. If there's nothing else, I'm going to sign off and say thank you for being patient with us and sticking with us to the end of the show. We will see you in only 2 weeks, right? On the very first episode of Mailbag with Lee and myself. Send your questions over to mailbag@iflipinvest.com. It can be about anything finance related. It can even be, ask about, our background if you really want to know about that kind of stuff. Really, there's nothing off limits. If there's something inappropriate, we're obviously just not going to answer it at all. But yeah, we want to keep it as open and general and available to everybody as possible. Until then, make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.